I have watched a ton of art content, and I truly do not understand why I have not come across this yet. Now, I've been looking for a means to do highlights on top of colored pencil and alcohol markers and whatever else I'm working with. Things I've used to try and get my highlights are Caran d'Ache Luminance white pencils, Prismacolor white, 0.7mm uni Poscas, Uniball Signa gel pens, jelly rolls, thick Poscas. So the first thing we're gonna do here is compare all of these on this black piece of construction paper that I have. After that, we're gonna take another sheet of paper and we are gonna lay down alcohol ink, black Posca, several different kinds of black colored pencil, and 2 different kinds of regular alcohol markers. Now, I got this on Amazon fairly cheaply, just over $10, I believe. Came in this little plastic container. Doesn't have much of anything on it, just tells you what the item is. It's got some warnings in different languages, and that's pretty much it. So I do believe it is water-based because I actually recorded this earlier, lost all the footage, and it dissolves right into water. So we're gonna test this first. It's actually pretty thin. As you can see, moves around pretty easy in there. Now, when I was looking at the Amazon reviews of it, people were talking about how it dries up fairly quickly, which I can believe because it dries on the paper pretty fast. But it spreads pretty well and doesn't leave that much of a texture. So we got Copic. Excuse me, I am not much of a brush person. Here. So let's get a nice thick dab on the brush, fully saturate it. Lay down a good go of it. And then what I want to do is just a little bit, so we'll, as you can see, it actually works pretty well. It doesn't seem to run the bristles of the brush all that well, but it could just be the brush I'm using. I am using a Royal Soft Grip. It's a SG 585. All right, we'll do our Caran d'Ache first. So C, D, L, and we'll just go straight for a burnish. And as you can see the black through the pencil. Even when you go really hard. We'll do the same with our Prisma. That's how you spell Prisma, right? Go straight for a burnish. And it performs about the same as the Caran d'Ache Luminance. You can see, they're both about the same. I prefer the Prisma for blending. I prefer my Luminance for highlights. Now we'll move on to our small 0.7 Posca. That just soaks right into the paper. You can see we got a nice blotch there if I run it down, but this wasn't as good as I thought it would be when I started using it on alcohol marker or colored pencil. It's very fiddly. Sometimes you get the results you want, sometimes you don't. Now we'll try our fat Posca. It's like 1.35 or something. As you can see, that's just soaking right into the construction paper. Now if we keep going over it, I wonder if it'll get any better. I'll probably start picking up the tooth off the paper. This does good on top of other Poscas, so what I'll do is I will show you that. I'll lay down some black Posca here and we'll return to this one. All right, now we're gonna do the Signa. This is a gel pen. I'm not a fan of gel pens. Now, I've tried these with colored pencil, and they were finicky, and they felt finicky when I tried them with alcohol marker. They're extremely inconsistent, which that messiness, I could definitely see working for some. I like consistency. Then we got our, what is it? Sakura Jelly Roll. Which, honestly, I am surprised the two of these still work, because I haven't touched these for, I don't know, it's been at least a year and a half since I've had these out and actually using them. But they work, the tips haven't dried up. So as you can see, in my opinion, the Copic does the best here. And it's very easy to use. I'm very curious if you could put this in a fountain pen and use it that way. And I've been looking at fountain pens and Sumi ink pens or ink brushes for a while. So I might actually give that a go. I might even take one of my dried up multi-liners and see if I can't put this in there with one of the fatter nibs and use it like that. That'd be very interesting, in my opinion. The pigment might get caught up in the nib, I don't know. That's a test for later on though. Oh! A little bit of a mess there. Anyway. Give that a chance to dry. We'll do the same with 7mm. Then I will move on to the next test. So given how drastic the difference is from the center where I laid down the paint and on the construction paper, how much of that is actually soaking up, I'm going to lay down some black on a regular piece of paper. Every time I open this, it sprays on my hand. Oh, that's strong. I have windows open, I have ventilation, and this is still, whoo! This is Montana, I think it is. Yeah, Montana Bold marker, alcohol marker I laid down on here. The film from the alcohol marker, that waxy-like film that some of them get, is causing this to separate. So if you use something like Ohuhu's and you use a lot of red, I noticed with Ohuhu, the red is particularly bad for leaving that film. This might not be for you, but there you go. Now we are going to do our Caran d'Ache on top of it. So C, D, L. This is kind of just sliding across the top of it like there is a film on it. You see, getting kind of different results here. There's no tooth for it to really grip. And we'll do our glass pencil, performing about the same as Caran d'Ache, same as with the construction paper. We will do our white Posca, our fat boy here. And the Posca is performing much better, as you can see. We'll use our thinner Posca. It's doing much better. Next would be the Signa gel pen. Dog is having a ball in the background. And it's a little harder to get a consistent thing, but dropping thinner lines and marks is doing pretty well. And now we'll test the jelly roll. This is the size 10. Harley, what are you doing? So you can see the difference here, especially in the Posca, because this is it sucks up any moisture. Harley. She's playing. Harley, what What's up? Excuse my floor, it's disgusting. I need to clean it. The dog has done a number to it. Potty training. Anyway, Posca, as you can see, this sucks up all the moisture out of everything. So, the Posca doesn't do as well, but where the alcohol marker leaves this film on top, it allows the moisture and all the paint to just sit on top. It's kind of the same for the gel pens. The gel pens do a little better on top of the alcohol marker. The Copic does better on the construction paper because it's actually got tooth for it to grab onto, whereas this, it leaves a film and it separates. The colored pencils do better on the construction paper because it's got, again, it's got tooth for it to grab onto. So on the alcohol marker here, this particular alcohol marker is bad for it, where it leaves that film on top. It doesn't have a lot to grab, so it's more transparent than the anything else on this page. And that leads me into our next test, where I am going to lay down the different types of pencils and whatnot and see how this white opaque, this opaque white Copic stuff does on different mediums. Well, different types of the same medium. So, all right, so here's what we got going on here. I laid out some Prisma, Poly, Pablo, Luminance, Posca, Copic Chow, and Ohuhu. We're gonna test this opaque white across all of them and see how it comes out. As you can see, the ink is not separating. It's laying. You can move it around easy enough. My dog is having a fit. Harley, what's up? I'll be right back. Okay, I think the chaos is over, so we can get back to it. So we were working with the polys, and as you can see, it flows real nice on them. It doesn't break up, and you get a little bit of distance with it. So we're gonna do Pablo now, and we pretty much get the same results. I mean, that's kind of in line with what I've said about Pablos, that they sit somewhere in between Prisma and Polychromos. So sticking with what I said, we're gonna skip over the Luminance for now, and we'll come back to it. And we are gonna do the Posca, and it's the same story here, no issues. And it being water-based, whatever this is, it seems water-based. And the Posca's being a water-based acrylic, it doesn't seem to drag off or go onto the brush. The Posca is completely dry, so note that. Now let's do Prisma. Prisma is extremely waxy, and you'd probably expect something like this that's kind of watery to break up on it, but it doesn't. It moves very nicely across it. Quick strokes, we get a little bit of break up there, but not a whole lot. If you move kind of slow, you get a nice stable line. So you would think Luminance, being another waxy colored pencil, would be the same story. As you can see, it breaks up. And that's pretty much the same result I got earlier. It's not a steady, consistent line. With this alcohol marker, you can see it broke up almost immediately, started just getting kind of like spotty and whatnot, like it didn't want to rest on there. So these two spots, the Copic Chow and the Ohuhu, I went until you could see the ink building up on the page. It wasn't able to saturate into the paper anymore. And on the Copic, we're getting a nice spread there, consistent line. It's not breaking apart. The Ohuhus, when I was using them a lot, I noticed a lot of that waxy buildup. Like even in photos and everything, it was kind of like Prisma, where if the light was at the right angle, you could see the shine from the buildup on the top of it. And we're getting a consistent line on here. But the luminance and the other alcohol marker, I was not expecting it to break up like that. So as you can see, as expected, the medium you're painting on top of does affect how it will look. As you can see here, the Copic started getting real spotty. Didn't want to put it out a consistent line. And then on these, where it absorbs a lot of paper, it did kind of okay, absorbed a little faster. You didn't get as much of a brush stroke out of it. But I am going to be working with this a lot because I like the way it's going. I'll just have to keep in mind the medium I am using. And for the price, I think it was like 12 or 14 bucks. I would definitely recommend it. It doesn't seem to, I mean, being water-based, it doesn't seem to affect Posca any. And voila, it kind of speaks for itself. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. If you've used this or if you're going to give it a try. My next piece, I'm going to be using it because I want some nice specular highlights on there. I'm Greg. I'll catch you in the next one.